I'm going like that.
Hello, everyone. Good evening for all those of you in Malaysia and in the UK. Good morning. We're back here with the Cop Talk. For those tuning in, thank you so much for watching, for sticking around. We are on episode 7, and it's a special number 7.
All
And
those of you in Malaysia and
we will
on
be
episode 7.
covering a few topics today, and not too many. We're just going to have a quick hour show, and we're going to cover the actual match that just happened, the shocker that is the 7-2 defeat to Aston Villa, and we're going to talk about the Everton match as well. Before that, let me introduce our speakers today. We've got Mr. Puvarasan Puva back with us as always. We've got Mr. Vinod, the rare, funny breed of Manchester United fans, which we so respect. Thank you, Vinod, for joining us again to share your views. We've got my man here, a big person in the local sports scene in Malaysia, Mr. Iqbal Ali, or Ik, as we're calling him today. Thank you, Ik, for joining us. And all the way from the UK, from England, currently in another peculiar lockdown situation, a buddy of mine from very long ago, Mr. Ben James, who is an Irish Liverpool fan based in the UK. How's that, right? So, thank you, Ben, for joining us. For those of you watching, please do keep the. Please stay tuned, and if you've got any views or comments, please lay that in, and we will respond. I think we've got about some double digit of viewers right now. Thank you so much for watching. So, I just want to get right into this without wasting too much time. Let's talk about it. We've avoided it for a while. We've really avoided it, and it's not something that we should avoid, being the reigning champions of England. The Aston Villa match, 7-2. So what went wrong? I was recently interviewed on national television on Astro Awani, and I blamed it all on the high line strategy, and because I felt Adrian was just not effective. When you use the high line, the goalkeeper plays an important role, and I think the mistake at the start kind of just made everything go wrong. And there was just no fluidity, no fluency in whatever that was going on, and that kind of set us back the entire game. We just could not find rhythm. That's my view. But let's go on to maybe Iqbal, who's the first timer on this show. So Iqbal, what do you think, in your words, went wrong? In a nutshell, you don't have to go to the specifics. You can just keep it in a nutshell. What do you think went wrong? Can't hear you. Hold on, Iqbal, you're on mute. Hold on. All right. Say again.
I'm just going to say I'm going to give you a spiritual answer. I think last season we had some close shaves, and we made it. I mean, probably at the 4th minute of the extra time, and all those games that favored us. So this was one game. I think everything was thrown in just one game. 3 deflections and 1 or 2 offsides, and everything had to happen in one game. And I'm hopeful that this is the first and the last in this season.
I'm not happy that it was a first, and I swear to God, it better be the last for many seasons to come. I don't want it to happen next season, or the next foreseeable future, right? So we everything went wrong in that game. So so thanks, Iqbal. Let's go to Puva. Let's hear from Puva, who really nudged me many times to get this. Although Puva's line is stuck, so maybe we can skip Puva for now. I think his line is stuck. Let's go to Ben. let's let the United fans speak last. So let's go to Ben first.
I mean, I think it sounds really bad, but I think this sort of defeat was coming for a long time. The high line, I know you've mentioned the high line and the fact that we persist with it. And I think there's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is, I think we stick to this high line. And as you said, the goalkeeper doesn't quite read the situation within Adrian, whereas Alisson does. But we have been very slack in tracking back after the high line's been played. So it's great holding that line, but then you have to drop, and we don't drop. We seem to stick with that line. And I think it was highlighted, I think it was the third or the fourth goal, Ollie Watkins head at the back post, where we had that line, ball went over the back, and then it was like, oh, I hope it's offside, and just didn't move. And it's been going on. I think we were highlighted with the Leeds game when we conceded 3 goals. We were quite sloppy. And it's quite interesting. Keane on Sky Sports after the Arsenal game highlighted it, and Klopp got a bit annoyed. And I think there was something in that. But I think on top of the high line, I think in midfield we lost the game. People don't talk enough about how we got overrun in midfield by, Aston Villa played really well. But if you think about it, that's a midfield that nearly got relegated last year compared to the champions of England. I think we missed Jordan Henderson more than ever. I think just having his leadership and his drive in midfield, we really struggled with that. So I think, to be honest, that's where I want us to see us improve going forward. I think we will with Thiago coming back and Henderson, but midfield, we just lacked a bit of oomph in there against Villa, and they just overran us, and it was pretty painful to watch.
Yep. I totally agree there. I think I was the first, one of the few. I wouldn't say the first. I was one of the handful or the few that was completely annoyed with our midfield the other day, and people were saying a lot of things. And like for me, I do not know where Gini Wijnaldum has gone since the Barca game, the Barca comeback game. In all honesty, I think his best seems to be behind him. He doesn't seem to be, having that flair. I'm not sure whether there is a little bit of that aftermath of how his move to Barca didn't fall through. So I don't know what's happening. Especially, I do not know whether Thiago being introduced into the club has kind of given the other midfielder. I mean, Jordan Henderson is the captain, right? So he knows that as long as he's got his fitness in check, he's definitely going to be, there, amongst the ranks and starting every other game. But I'm not sure how the other midfielders are taking it with the Thiago and Thiago being the absolute magician that he is. So I wonder whether there's a little bit of how things are getting edgy amongst them over there. I don't know, but for me, for Wijnaldum's standards, what he has shown, what he has accomplished for himself and for the team, I think that was really unacceptable, in terms of his performance the other day. So I do believe that you're absolutely right. I'm right there with you. But we've got, let's go to some comments here, Ben, if you don't mind. We've got one of our buddies here, Padma, saying that Adrian is what's wrong, over there. And, they're saying that they really want Kelleher to start tonight. I know Padma saying that he wants Kelleher to start tonight. And, we've got Dave here also, who's a strong Liverpool. He's running his own fan club in my state, actually. It wasn't all about Adrian. So this Adrian debate is very arguable. Is he really as good as we think he is? Many people think he is, or what do you think? Yeah,
I personally, I think if you I look at a goalkeeper in 2 ways. You look at their goalkeeping ability and then their footballing ability. Adrian as a goalkeeper, you can't really fault him as a goalkeeper. When I say that, his ability, his shot stopping ability, his one-on-one ability, coming at crosses, that sort of stuff. And I think you can't fault him. He's a Premier League standard goalkeeper, and I think as a number 2, brilliant to have him as a goalkeeper. However, the way that we seem to set up, and all Premier League sides are starting to set up, is they have a footballer as a goalkeeper, someone who can pass the ball, has composure. And I think Adrian has made couple of mistakes, giving the ball to Danny Ings against Southampton, that ball across the box and him scoring there, the Atletico Madrid mistake. I mean, the the Southampton mistake with Danny Ings wasn't a big issue. It didn't cost the game, but he's made two crucial errors in the fact that we basically, it sounds really harsh, but his mistake against Atletico Madrid cost us probably a place in the Champions League final, potentially even winning the Champions League again, because, you know, that mistake doesn't happen. We potentially go and win that game. And I don't think you can put the whole Villa result on him, but I think, as you alluded to, that his mistake started us off poorly, made us edgy. And I think the thing is, we got to probably recognise that if he's not as good as Ali as the way he plays and his footballing ability, we've got to change how we play or communicate with Adrian how we play. I think it ultimately boils down to that Jurgen Klopp seems to back him, so therefore I'm going to back him. I don't think if Jurgen Klopp says jump, I jump. You know, I don't think anyone can argue with him. You know, he's come around and turned us into this unbelievable force. So yeah, I think, look, Adrian as a goalkeeper, he's a good number 2. His footballing ability is what worries me, and I think if we adapt how we play around his footballing ability, we might be okay. It's a big shout to say we're going to go and play Queven Kelleher ahead of him. Kelleher's a good prospect, but you know, how much football has Kelleher played at that level? You know, he's played a couple of Carabao Cup games. I saw him live last year when we played Arsenal in the 5-5, and that, to be fair, isn't a fair reflection on him because that was such an open game. But that's a big cauldron to chuck him into a derby, you know, with very little experience. You know,
I know what the derby means on normal circumstances all these years. But considering this is a derby in the COVID-19 time, and there's not going to be a lot of flair in the stadiums, would it be worth, you know, exploring, like, you know, Kelleher going in? I don't think there's going to be so much of a nervous fact about the crowd nerves and so on. It's just going to be more of nervous that the nerves about, can we get back to that form that we once were? You know, so I you know, do you still don't think Kelleher is a starter for the Premier League?
Not quite yet. I mean, I think he has the ability to. I've been really impressed when I've seen him. You know, again, he's another player who looks from that sort of that youth block, you know, alongside Harvey Elliott, those sorts of guys. He's got the ability to go forward, and I think he will eventually become whether it's a number 1 at the club or a number 2, or even if he goes elsewhere and ends up playing a lot of football. But I don't know. I think it'd be a very ballsy and gutsy move to chuck him in now. I know Adrian's made one mistake this year, and I know I spoke about a couple of mistakes he made last year, but you know, we won a lot of games with Adrian in goal last year, and it's just because of the fact that his mistakes have been made at crucial times, unfortunately. And I think if he was to have a couple more goes in goal whilst Alisson was still out and he was making mistakes, I think then we'd have to look at it and go, do you know what? Let's take you out the firing line. Let's go down the line of Kelleher. But I personally feel like I think something else has to go wrong before Kelleher goes in. That's my opinion. Okay. But you know, whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. But
we've got someone commenting on your view. Spot on. Reminds me when Adrian made a point blank save from Yoshida last season. His goalkeeping ability, footballing ability makes a difference. How much could he sink? So, you know, so that's Ben, I just want to say we got rid of Karius for a lot less. So yeah. How many chances? I mean, Karius was also a Klopp-backed keeper, but you know, we got rid of him just like that, right? Because he failed at the biggest stage, you know, the Champions League final, right?
But the Karius thing, I'll bring back to his goalkeeping ability. Karius's goalkeeping ability was not as strong as Adrian's, in my opinion. I remember standing out perfectly. We played City at Anfield in the 4-3, which he played, and we were 4-1 up. Their first goal, Karius got beaten at the near post, and his hands were the weakest hands of a goalkeeper I've seen for a long time. So Karius made huge mistakes with his footballing ability, etc. The Karius thing in the Champions League final, he potentially was concussed. We don't know. Only he'll ever know that. But actually, Karius made goalkeeping mistakes, which is where I think he, you know, had to go. I think he made goalkeeping mistakes, and he made goalkeeping mistakes when he went out on loan as well, like really bad goalkeeping mistakes. Same with Simon Mignolet. Simon Mignolet made goalkeeping mistakes back when we in the year we before Ali came, and we came four. Actually, I think it was way back when we played 2013-14, the year we nearly won the league.
We almost won that year. Yeah.
Mignolet made a huge mistake at the Etihad. Shot and palmed it straight to his goal. Poor goal. And that's the thing. I guess you're right. You called me out on that. Karras was a Klopp signing, but Klopp admittedly went, do you know what? He's not good enough and shipped him on. And he might do the same with Adrian. But as I said, Adrian's goalkeeping, it's down to Karius. Karius and Mignolet made poor goalkeeping errors. Brad Jones, another one. You look back to all the way back then in 2012, 2011, we had Brad Jones and he came in. Brad Jones made seriously bad goalkeeping errors.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where it comes down to, and I think you can forgive a goalkeeper a little bit for footballing errors because, that's something they can always work on. Whereas fundamental goalkeeping mistakes, you can't forgive. And that's what Karius did. Again, I was a big fan of Karius up until I started to notice those little things creep in. It's just where he's got a bit of he's got chocolate wrists. It's almost like it's just about as useful as a chocolate fire guard. It's like, what, come on, you got to strong hands, the basics of a goalkeeper.
Yeah, definitely. I guess you can't run away from being a keeper. You got to be a good keeper. You've got to be able to make the saves. You've got to have safe hands, and that footballing bit, with the footwork is, I suppose, a secondary thing or a complementary thing to the core of saving those hard shots and so on. So yeah. Vinod, what do you think about this? Yeah, let's get a Manchester United perspective here. After you guys got whacked, I think 6, and then we went one further. What do you guys think?
First of all, thanks for taking away the limelight from us.
It won't happen too often.
You just diverted attention to you guys.
It won't happen too often,
I mean, but you just did it when we needed it, so that's good enough. Okay, I guess that game basically your midfield trio failed you guys. You saw Keita missing, Fabinho was basically not there, Wijnaldum Gigi also wasn't there. I mean, Adrian, we all know he doesn't have the footwork like how Ben said. He's a good shot stopper, but nothing more. But putting the blame on him for the whole match is not fair. Your whole team failed on that day. There was too much of arrogance. You guys were too comfortable, even though when Aston Villa took the lead, it was much like, okay, we're going to come back. It was a very lazy performance from Liverpool. There was no urgency. Despite Villa taking the early lead, you guys were still settled back. Okay, we're going to come back. We're going to come back. You don't see them much. You don't see anyone pushing forward much. The key thing I found that day, another thing is you guys mess Hendo's leadership quality. Van Dijk wasn't pushing the team enough. There wasn't anyone lifting the team much. You just get Villa to be more confident. And yeah, they had good lucks with the deflection goals and the offsides and everything. But basically, it was just handed over on a silver plate to Villa. The good part, it happened early. You guys got time to bounce back. Imagine this defeat happening in December during the tough title battle. It might take the whole team's confidence down. So happening early, time to recover. So it's two ways to look at it. It could be a good thing, but it's a wake-up call for Liverpool. Huge wake-up call.
All right. Wake-up call. We've got to limit the amount of things that this Manchester United fan says. He's a nice guy, but he walks a thin line. I think I must agree with you. The midfield failed us today. Iqbal, what do you have to say?
No, I just have to say that Liverpool has to be one up on MU on that day.
We are fine.
Lego 6, we have to Lego 7. We have to be one up on you guys.
On that day, we just allow you guys. Take and go. We were bad as fuck on that pretty day.
Yeah. Okay, I just Puva's back. Puva, can you hear us? Are we good?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, super. Puva,
you guys can hear me?
Can
Yes.
Absolutely clear, loud and clear.
All right.
So Ben has spoken about the midfield, which I agree with. I think we spoke about the midfield ourselves offline. We know there's come and agreed about the midfield. Iqbal said everything that could go wrong went wrong, like Murphy's law, I suppose. On that day, which is fair and fine. Uh, uh, we spoke about Adrian, so it's very arguable. Like what Ben said. He said that Adrian must be we need to give him another chance because he made a footballing error, not a goalkeeping error. Okay, so that's one way to look at it. That's okay. I accept that, not in the case of Carriers, but I accept that. Ben, but here's the thing. I need us to think about something here objectively. Objectively, he made that error. We're playing the high line. The goalkeeper makes the error, and don't you think that kind of shook up our defense? Because in order to play the high line, the support from the goalkeeper really coming up there to support that high line is something very crucial. It's something absolutely important. If not, the high line strategy is not going to work. So let's not even get into the fact that why didn't we change the high line strategy, right? Let's not even get into that yet. But sticking to the high line strategy, Adrian made those blunders, that blunder from the start, shook up the whole defense. We didn't recover. The defense didn't get the support that they felt they needed to get. They didn't have the confidence of that support from behind that they get with Ali. And I guess that kind of had a domino effect all the way. And I suppose even the defense was a complete letdown the other day. We were really bullied ultimately, but I really have to say I think there was a larger impact here on Adrian's mistake than we are giving credit for to the mistake. So Puva, what do you think about Adrian's mistake and how that impacted our defense?
No, I think our fan base actually made Adrian as the main scapegoat for the defeat. I think out of the 7 goals, can you guys tell me how many goals? I mean, Adrian responsible for how many goals out of the 7?
Two.
One or two, I think.
One
Yeah,
or two?
yeah.
Yeah.
And 3 deflection is not his mistake.
Yep.
And we know how terrible our defense was that day. Apart from Robertson, I think Robertson is the only positive thing we could take from that game
Robertson
defensively.
and I have to say it, Puva, it's Robertson and Salah, but
No,
we'll get
I'm talking about
defense.
defensively.
Yeah, okay, defense. Yep,
So
Robertson.
apart from Robertson, even Van Dijk, our leader at the back,
He
very
went to
poor,
sleep.
very poor, very poor for his standard. Gomez, probably the worst player on the pitch, worst defender on the pitch, in my opinion, on that day. And Trent Alexander-Arnold is not the player that we have seen for the past 2 seasons. Even ever since the restart, it's not the Trent Alexander-Arnold we know. He's been really
Agree.
shaky. It's not. Haven't seen the best of Trent Alexander-Arnold yet. So for me to blame Adrian 100%, it's not fair for him. But if you ask me whether we need a replacement for him, yes, I would say yes. I think it's the time because we can't judge him based on Aston Villa game alone. You guys have to see the amount of errors he has made in uh, in the matches in the past. I mean, last season. Yes, he's done uh, quite well after Adrian's injury earlier last season. But I think apart from that, look at the costly mistakes they have done for us. Atletico Madrid, Aston Villa, so many matches. We like. I mean, for Liverpool Football Club, Adrian as a backup goalkeeper, I don't think is good enough. But but as a true Liverpool supporters, we all can't blame Adrian 100% for the defeat at Aston Villa. We are focusing about 7-2 now. We can't say 7-2 because of Adrian. It's yes, fourth minute of the game he made that blunder, and probably Aston Villa would have thought that okay, let's go and pressure them. Don't make them make 3 or 4 passes more than that. and that's what Aston Villa did that day, and they really punished us.
Okay, okay.
And apart from the defensive uh, mistakes and errors, I think we missed Anderson more than Thiago. If you ask me, more than Thiago, I think we missed Jordan Anderson the most on that night, and it further shows that how important he is for Liverpool Football Club. Probably the most important player for us, because people talk about Liverpool's midfield. They even comparing our midfield to the United's one, to the Chelsea one, that they are telling that we are not good enough in the midfield. So the importance of Jordan Anderson, we can sense, we can feel, especially during those games that he's been missing and missed in the past. We have dropped so many points in the absence of our captain.
Yep. Ben, do you wanna say something in response to Puva here?
I said I agree with him about the whole Henderson thing. I think we've missed Henderson anytime we play poorly without him. It's just purely because of we miss him massively. We have a bit of get go, a bit of get forward. I remember a couple of years ago when Oxlade-Chamberlain went out and we had the same issue and he was driving us forward. I think Hendo gets us all around the park. He's a massive character on the pitch. And his footballing ability is so underrated. So I completely agree on that point. I get your point about Adrian. I mean, I alluded to 3 mistakes I think he's made. I think he made one. I said at Southampton, we played Southampton, he passed all straight Danny Ings and he scored an open net. The only other mistakes I can think of were the Villa and the Madrid mistakes. I mean, they're 3 really big mistakes.
Big mistake.
Big mistakes. And especially, I already said the Atletico Madrid one is a huge one because it effectively cost us. And in my opinion, it cost us the Champions League because I think if you look at the route that Atletico Madrid had and the pattern of the draw that went forward, it may not have come out that way had we gone through. But I think with that stand of the Champions League, I'd have backed us to beat anyone in that Champions League draw. So, but I do look back at, I think, we played what, 10, I think Dev put in his comments, he put about 10, 13 games we played in last year where we won with him. I agree, I agree, he's probably, if we want to be considered one of the best of all time and go on to like how United went for years and dominate, we probably need to get a better number 2. However, if you look at United, when they absolutely dominated, you look at the number 2s they had behind Barthez, Van der Sar, Schmeichel, they had Taibbi, who let one through his legs. They had the Australian Bosnich, who wasn't very good. So if you actually look at the sides that dominate the Premier League in the last 30 years, they've not had great number 2s either. They've just been luckier with their injuries. So whether it's a case of we look at it and go, Ali is injury prone, we need someone better, or we just look at it and go, do you know what, we're unlucky that our number 2s have to play so much. But I agree with you. I think if you look at United's situation, they've got De Gea, who I argue don't think they have number 1 anyway, but they've got Dean Henderson, who's class, and Romero, who's also good. I think they've probably got a better 2 and 3 situation than we do. Now, I do not for the life of me understand why we've allowed Jack Butland go to Crystal Palace when we could have bought him for $1 million. But I said beforehand, if Klopp says jump, I'll back him. So, but I agree with you. He's made some mistakes. I don't think he's made as many as we probably like to think. The thing is what he's done is the mistakes he's made have been highlighted more because I agree with you. It started the ball rolling at Villa. It made us nervous and Techi. And I think I do feel like a little bit nervy with him. The Atletico Madrid game, again, because it's such a high stakes game and the timing of the mistake, really poor. But other than those 2 mistakes, I don't think I've seen any mistakes lead to us losing games. They've probably cost us goals, but we haven't lost games. Look, I would rather a better number 2 than Adrian. I'm not going to lie about that. But I think if you look at the quality of number 2, bar United, I don't think City's number 2 situation isn't great. Chelsea's certainly isn't. He's got probably the worst, most expensive goalkeeper of all time. Spurs, Gazaniga, actually, to be fair, is quite a good number 2. But again, is Hugo Lloris even that good number 1? So, I mean, if you look across the Premier League, the number 2 situation isn't strong anyway. Is he potentially the 3rd best number 2 in the Premier League? I don't know. I mean, but I get your point. I think the problem is he just has made a lot of mistakes. But has he made as many as we probably think because we've seen those mistakes there? I don't know. It's something you'd have to go back and watch a lot of tape and sort of assume, you know, and try and work it.
I hear both of you. I hear both of you, and I am just thinking. I'm just thinking here. What Puva is saying, how you say it, Ben. I think that's very much traditionally how we as Liverpool fans have accepted a lot of things. You know, we've accepted par level performances. There were times when we were forced to accept below par level and below mediocre level performances. Now we're the champions, right? We're the champions of England. They're the English champions, and they've won, done the unthinkable over the last 12 to 18 months. They've really accomplished quite a bit. Are we being a bit too sentimental here, or are we being? Do we need to start being objective? Iqbal, what do you think here, Iqbal? The goalkeeping mistake, something that needs to be addressed by Klopp immediately. Does Adrian still need to receive the nod for the Premier League to start as number 2 to Alisson, or should he go down to the Cups and maybe give, you know, Kelleher, who is probably third choice here, a chance, or even Karius? I don't know. What do you think, Iqbal? Goalkeeping, in terms of making an error by a goalkeeper. It's not a goalkeeping error, it's a footballing error. I'll quote Ben there. Footballing error done by a goalkeeper. Still crucial mistake at the back. What do you think?
I personally feel that, I agree with the fact that we are now the English champions and the world champions, and we have to be objective and we have to be tough on ourselves or whatever. But I think mistakes are mistakes. I like what Puva said. Thank God we made this mistake in the earlier part of the season, and I think we can bounce back, and definitely Liverpool will bounce back, God willing. But more importantly, I feel that for now, I agree why Klopp did not swoop Butland, but as you said earlier, maybe he has faith in Adrian as a number two, yeah. And first mistake, and you drop him completely, wouldn't be good for the player. It'd probably kill the player's career anyway. But yes, I also agree that we may want to look for a number 2, a more capable number 2. And my opinion, Kelleher is not ready. Yes, he may be able to play some of the cup matches or less significant matches just to prepare him, maybe in a year or two. But to throw him in a derby match like this, or in a season where, you know, after this 7-2, what's going to happen is that my feeling is that all the other teams will say, well, if Aston Villa can whack 7-2, maybe a 2-1 is possible, you know. So it's a mind game anyway. So they will probably want to put their best man forward and have a go. So with that, not sure whether Kelleher can withstand that sort of a pressure. Yeah, that's my opinion.
There's Vinod, there's a comment here. Thanks, Iqbal, for that view. Kelleher is not ready for the Premier League. Okay, I think Puva and I have a little friend here who literally screamed out and said they want Kelleher to start against Everton. But I think that's just frustration talking in the moment, spur of the moment, and so on and so forth. If we let ourselves calm down, we probably realize that we probably need to go with Adrian all over again today and just hold our breaths for 90 minutes and see how it goes. Marcelo Pitaluga here. We know for a club that signs literally anybody and everybody and anytime that you want to sign people. So from a Manchester United point of view, who are the experts at signing players, I don't know why, but what do you think we've done here by signing Marcelo Pitaluga?
He could, under 17, great future. They doubt him as a wonder kid. He could be a good understudy to Eri. Maybe Klopp sees a similar playing pattern, but a year or two, but he's not going to be immediate replacement. That's upfront. So for the future, yes. But if you want to throw him to a big game, we have not seen him perform yet. Maybe Klopp can think, smaller matches, but it's too soon to talk about him. The main focus still goes back to Adrian.
Okay.
Whether you want to use him, but I still feel end of the day is on Klopp. You can't blame on your keeper because you know your second keeper is not good, does not suit your tactic. So shouldn't Klopp amend or change his tactic to suit your players on the pitch instead of getting your players who can't suit the tactics to be on the pitch? Isn't it putting too much pressure on your own players? And when it backfires, it's very simple to point finger. But let's just point one finger on that day to Klopp. We know McGinn and Douglas Lewis was just running all over. So why wasn't there any tactical changes? Or last year we have seen Adrian fail over and over on high pressing. We all know that is not his footballing game. He doesn't have the footballing skills.
Yeah.
He's a good shot stopper.
So coming to that,
So
you
you need to use him.
Yeah. So you brought a very good point here. It's a point that I wanted to say. Like I said, I don't even want to go into it just now because I think let's talk about Klopp. And he did not. I think he didn't shuffle things up the other day. Like what Vino said, I think we were very cocky. We just thought that we can come back from anything. That 4, 5, 6, 7 goals, it's too much to ask for. We didn't really change things up as I would have liked to see. But then again, with a game that everything that's going wrong, it's probably not easy to change things up that way. So we're going into the Everton match. I guess all of us are in good spirits after the 7-2. That's great to see. We're very optimistic. We are going into this match, I guess, with some confidence that it's probably people can't see, it's invisible, but we have that confidence. So we're going into the Everton match. So how lucky are they? Are they lucky to be where they are today? They are playing good football, but is this just some sort of a periodical, momentary euphoria because they signed like a good player? They've got Calvert-Lewin just hitting the target week in, week out, really on form. Player of the month, Ancelotti, manager of the month. Is this all really a sign that Everton's like on the right track? They really are on course to do a Leicester City. Are they really going to be doing that? What do you think, Puva?
No, I honestly feel I don't think they are lucky to be in this position. I think if you look back, the first game against Spurs at the new Spurs Stadium, I think they were the better team. They should have won the game by 2 or 3 goals, if not for Richarlison's poor finishing. So I feel Everton deserved to win that game. And then the second game, home game against West Brom, newly promoted West Brom, I think everyone predicted an Everton win. And of course, the red card for West Brom helped them little bit, so they won at the end 5-1 or 5-2, if not mistaken. And the third game is a tough one away to Crystal Palace. I think most of us actually predicted a draw or maybe a slim win for Everton, and yeah, at the end they won. They won. It was a controversy, penalty involved, if not mistaken. Um, and the last one they beat who again? I can't remember the last game.
Oh, they beat West Ham.
Brighton.
West Ham, then
They,
Brighton.
yeah, they. I mean, on the paper we can say that only Spurs is the strongest team they have met, but come on, I think this is Premier League. Anyone can beat anyone. Okay, we didn't expect West Brom to take 3 goals lead against Chelsea 2 weeks back or 3 weeks back. So this is Premier League. We can't say someone is lucky to be in that position. I think Everton deservedly leading the table right now, And yeah, credit to Carlo and the Everton players. I think the three signings made by Carlo Ancelotti actually turned the fortune around for Everton actually. And for, in my opinion, Allen from Napoli and Doucouré from Watford is signing of the summer. I think they have installed a much needed defensive quality Everton been lacking for years and years and years. Okay, we know that Everton, how shaky they are at the back, and they always needed a world class defensive midfielders. And I think after so many years, can't remember when the last time they really had a quality defensive midfielders like Haaland and Doucouré right now. And of course, Ames Rodriguez having probably the best phase of his footballing career after 2014 World Cup. Can't believe I'm saying this, but yes, that's the fact. But I think the real test for Carlo Ancelotti and Everton players is today. They are against the champions, and I know. I think this is the probably the most one-sided club football derby in world football. I mean, I mean, look at the Manchester derby, look at the North London derby, look at the El Clasico, Super Clasico, the Old Firm derby. Even though we can say that Celtics have the better of Rangers in the past few years, but still, this Merseyside derby for me is the most one-sided club football derby that we can remember. We can totally agree on that. So Everton, they last beat us 10 years ago. They last beat 10 years ago, and they never won a silverware since 1995. Such a shame for a club like Everton,
Yeah,
who's
yeah,
one of the most successful club in English football. So yeah, for me, I feel this is their real first test because they have, if let's say they beat us today, then yes, that's a statement. That's a statement, and I would say for us, we really need to think. Klopp, I would say it's a panic button for us. We need to press the panic button for us because back to back defeat under Klopp, it's been ages. We hardly lost league games under Klopp ever since he take over, and to lose 7-2, to face such a defeat, and then now back to derby, and we didn't have much time to prepare for the defeat. We straight away back to international football, and I think the players, all of them, at only 48 hours, less than 48 hours to prepare for this all important Merseyside derby. So I think not the right time to face Everton, but I'm still confident that we will get a result. And despite our superior record against them, I think at Goodison Park, I always feel that we always struggle to beat them. The last time we won at Goodison Park was 2016, the Sadio Mane winner at 94th minute. And last season, Salah had the opportunity to score the winner at Everton.
he
It
didn't want to
eventually,
convert.
yeah, he didn't want to convert, and one of the reason why we missed out on the Premier League title on 2018, 2019. Last season, 2019, 2020, after restart, we were very poor. If you guys can remember the game,
Yep,
our
yep,
our
yep.
first game after restart, and now we are heading to Goodison Park with probably for the first time Everton going to the game as
Favorites.
favorites,
Yep, yep.
which I'm actually okay to accept because I'm very sure, I'm pretty sure that the blue side of the Messi side is already started celebrating winning the Premier League, which is cool, which is cool. I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure they
yeah.
won't win the league. They won't win the
Let's
league. But
yeah.
I would be honestly happy with them to finish top six, which is brilliant for Carlo Ancelotti and Everton.
So let's go to Ben and let's hear it from him right there from the UK. What's your, I mean, how is this how big is this Merseyside derby over there? How how seriously do you guys take it over there in terms of your fan bases? And what do you think of tonight's game?
I mean, well, the derby's sort of is always obviously serious because of the fact that the history of that there. But I think this is probably the most anticipated one for a long time. I mean, to be honest, I've never been nervous going into a Merseyside derby, really, because let's be honest, they couldn't hit a barn door at Anfield, and it's always been a drab, boring game at Goodison Park. But today it's a bit different. It's very much a feel that everyone seems to expect Liverpool to go and lose at Everton. But there is a small minority of people that have actually gone, well, maybe the flip way, that Liverpool actually suddenly get the wake-up call because of the battering we got. The thought I have on it, I mean, yes, Everton have started brilliantly. I do agree that 3 midfield signings in Alan Doucouré and James Rodriguez have sort of revolutionised that side. Whether they can win the Premier League or not, I doubt, because I don't think they have much depth past those 3. All it takes is for 2 of those 3 to get injured, and they're in trouble. Plus, also, I think they're defensively very weak, and they've got a goal scorer at the moment who's on fire. So if their defence gets exposed, especially by our front 3 or by anyone, they're leaky. If they get injuries in midfield, and if Calvert-Lewin stops scoring goals, where do they get their goals from? I mean, if you look at Everton this year, we've already spoken about their performances. They beat Spurs, fair enough, brilliant result, but Spurs were so bad. They played West Brom, where they had the red card, which changed the game. But again, you'd expect them to beat West Brom at home. You'd expect, the Palace result away. That's a good result. I think, a draw would have been a fair. Normally, you think Everton away at Palace, you think a draw, but again, they got a dodgy penalty. You'd expect them to beat West Ham at home, and you'd expect to beat Brighton at home. So I don't the midfield 3, which everyone's gone on, been, oh, this is amazing. They've made them so good. They've been much better defensively and conceded goals. Calvert-Lewin scored a lot. They haven't come up against a defence, which admittedly we've just conceded 7, but they haven't come up against a defence, a strong top 4 defence, really. They haven't come up against a midfield, which again, I've just slated our midfield for Aston Villa. But when we have Thiago, Fabi, Hendo back, they haven't come up against a midfield where they might potentially be outplayed. And their defence hasn't been pushed. So I do think this is their first test. I think if they come through it, if they come through at the draw, then it's a bit like, okay, good result. But again, could they do something? But if we go out there and play like we could do and should do and beat them, I think that'll bring them back down to earth. I don't think it'll be cagey. I don't think it'll be like a 0-0, 1-0 result, because I think the way that football's been going with no fans in the ground, I think people are playing a bit more exposed. I do think it'll be a higher scoring derby. I do think it'll be a result of 3-1. I do think we'll win it 3-1, but I think it'll be close for a period of time. I think it'll potentially get to about 60, 65 minutes. It'll be 1-1, which we'll then score, I'm hoping, and then they'll be pushing for it. But it could equally go the other way. It could equally go the fact that it goes 1-1, they nick a goal, we push, and they go and hit us on the counter. I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin is in the form of his life. But again, Brighton's defence, West Ham's defence at times, West Brom have just come up, scoring goals, don't get me wrong, still scoring them, but against worse defence than what ours have been in the past. So, I'm excited / nervous, but I do think it'll be probably the best derby at Goodison Park, probably since the 3-3 draw, the year we nearly won the league. So, James Rodriguez as well. That's what I want to sort of touch on. I think Alan and Doucouré are probably the better signings out of them 3. And the reason being is, why would Madrid and Bayern Munich let a player go if he's that good? Why have they let him go? You look at Barcelona and Madrid, these sides who don't need to let their players go, and they let someone go. Why? Why they let him go? Munich let Thiago go because they had a year left in his contract. And they probably wanted to get some money, and Thiago wanted to leave. Whereas if you look at James Rodriguez, why has he been allowed to go? Has he turned up in big games in Madrid and Bayern Munich? Has he? I don't think he has. Whenever he's played really well, and yes, he played well under Carlo Ancelotti, but did he ever turn up in the big games? Yeah, brilliant. He's looked great against Brighton. Brilliant. He's looked good against West Ham. Again, a poorish side. He's looked good against West Brom. Just got promoted. If he comes out and plays really well today against us, that'll answer a lot of questions on him. And then I will start probably being a bit worried about him. But until we see how he goes against us, I don't know if he is that good. He scored a wonder goal in a World Cup, brilliant, and then got signed by Madrid. A bit like Mesut Ozil had a good World Cup and then got signed for Madrid. What's he done since? He sat on the bench earning sheets at Arsenal and not doing anything. So I think I think where this will get won is how they cope with our front three and how we cope with Calvert-Lewin. That's where I think the battles will be. You know,
Okay.
can they keep us out, and can we keep out Calvert-Lewin? And that's where it'll be there in the pitch.
Okay, I'm going to let Iqbal. There's a comment over here saying that Carlo Ancelotti is a manager that Klopp's record against is not quite impressive. You know, I think Klopp has not been able to figure out Ancelotti and his tactics, or has never really seen it coming very clearly as Klopp would see many other managers. But then again, this is after the 7-2, like Ben says. So I'm sure Klopp saw that didn't see the 7-2 coming either. What do you think about this? The in terms of Ancelotti, his presence, and how he's actually galvanizing the team. Let's say that galvanizing the team over there with these few signings. A little bit of a small-time name that didn't really make it big, like James Rodriguez. So what do you think Ancelotti's take is going to be? Is he going to be absolutely confident that Everton's going to be able to not just snatch a win, go in and actually win this game and take advantage of Liverpool's little slump, or large slump in the last game? What do you think?
Well, firstly, I just think that Liverpool will bounce back and it will be a win for us. That's number one. Number two, I think if the result goes against, it would not be about Klopp. It would be about the players who have not really bounced back and probably have issues. But I'm happy that Henderson is back on the line. Looking at the list of players, Thiago is not there. So I'm not sure whether that's the latest lineup that's in for today. But to me, it's good news that Henderson is there to hold the midfield together to form a shape, and it won't. I don't see how Klopp, Ancelotti will outdo Klopp. I just can't see it.
Okay. All right. So you're very much still in favor of Klopp, and there's nothing to fear from Ancelotti. We've got 8 minutes till our we're trying to be disciplined today. We've got 8 minutes to go in the show, or just over 7 minutes. Vinod, from a Manchester United point of view, neutral in today's Merseyside derby. I don't think you're neutral. I think you're siding the blue end of the Mersey here. But what is your take? In a few short minutes. Go on. Lay it on us. You're not going to get this opportunity too often, so go for it.
No, I mean, it's 22 games since Everton even beat Liverpool. But let's go even the last 10 or 15 years. I think this is the strongest Everton side we have seen so far. And Liverpool is coming back from a weak performance. Players back from international week who has not performed well also. So we might see an open game, and we might see an upset here. Everton might sneak out a slim victory, or it's going to be a draw. Everton having a tempo, and they just have the positive fight. So they might just nick in there. And that's it. I feel it might go to Everton today.
Nah, come on. Like really, seriously. Okay. I personally, I just want to say one thing before we go into the last bit, which is predictions. I see our Leeds United buddy Josiah already commenting and giving a prediction over there. But before we go into predictions, I just really hope to see. On one side, I do know that Klopp will probably want to make a statement, but what kind of a statement will Klopp want to make? Is he going to be like, I know what I'm doing. What happened at Aston Villa is just a one-off, so I'm still going to play the high line? Or is he going to feel a bit more reactive and say that, okay, the high line failed. I guess, tracking back is an issue, especially if we're feeling shaky. Everton are in totally good form to take advantage of that. So will Klopp change it up today? Will he change it up today? So I don't know. I have not seen the lineup yet, but
Everton's team has just come in.
Yeah.
The lineup is out.
And our team has just come in. So our team is Adrian, Trent, Robbo, Matip, Van Dijk, Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Mane, Salah, Firmino. So no Gomez. So I think Matip comes coming for Gomez. Thiago is going to start with Henderson in midfield, and then the usual front three. And Everton have got Pickford in goal, Coleman at right back, Digne at left back, Mina and Keane at centre backs. Midfield of Decore, Allen, and Andre Gomes. And up front, Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, Rodriguez. So, I mean, that's pretty much as expected, I think, wouldn't you say?
Ben, who's in the midfield again,
Yeah.
Ben?
So our midfield is Fabinho, Henderson, and Thiago.
The best we could,
Yeah.
the best we could expect from our lineup.
So I think Klopp has definitely opted for a swap in Gomez. So I think he's addressing clear concerns there with Gomez's form by putting Matip in, I suppose.
The interesting thing is the bench, though. If you look at the difference in the bench, I mean, their bench is Delph, Sigurdsson, Iwobi, Bernard, Godfrey, Davis, Olsen. Nothing scary. Whereas if you look at ours, we've got Gigi, James Milner, Gomez, Curtis Jones, Minamino, Jota. I mean, if you look at the difference, like for impact off the bench, which could be important in the last 30.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I mean. Their strength and depth. They've got a great first 11, but once past that, they've got nothing.
Yep. So you're trying to say we've got to hold things level at least till 65 minutes, right, Ben? And then go for the kill. You know,
That's 65 is crucial. We've got to either be in the lead or on level par, and I think we'll do in the last 30. But if we're behind and chasing the game, that's where it could play against us, really. But we'll see.
All right. So yeah, thanks Vignesh, Maria here for the lineup for everyone to see who's watching. Adrian, Trent, Van Dijk, Matip, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Salah, Mane, Firmino. We didn't even go into the Salah, Mane, Firmino because that's a way too long debate. But let's have that another day, Ben. I don't know. We're going to have one show just to debate Salah versus Mane, especially. Maybe you can get on that show.
I'll be all over that. That's brilliant.
Yeah, okay. So, right. Well, just so we know, are you on the Mane camp or Salah camp?
So it's difficult because Mohamed Salah looked incredible this year. Just looked fitter than he ever has done. But I'm a Sadio Mane camp.
Yay!
So, I don't know if our buddy Catherine is watching. He's not going to be pleased.
Sorry about that. Look, I think
okay, guys. We're right on time. We'll get you on the Mane versus Salah show. We'll get you on. We'll probably do it, promote it a bit more earlier, not last minute like today. Predictions. Josiah here, who's from the Leeds United official fan club of Malaysia. 3-1. Thank you, buddy. At this point, I'm taking all that we can get. Positive vibes. Bringing it in. He's taken a whack at Vinod as well.
I support. We are going down this year.
So I just want to say, in all honesty, my prediction today, for once, I'm not going to piss off Puva, and I'm actually going to say I think we'll sneak this in. It's going to be a 3-2 match. I think we'll sneak this in. It's going to be a 3-2 match. It's going to be won right at the depth, as Ben said, definitely post 70, 75 minutes. I think that's where we are. Brian just threw in. Hi, Brian. Thanks for watching. 3-2 Liverpool. That's my prediction as well. Let's go to Iqbal. Your prediction?
3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. All right. That's looking good. I swear to God, this show is either going to be spot on or we're going to be way off, you guys. Puma, your prediction, please.
3-1 Liverpool.
3-1 Liverpool. Absolute confidence there.
After
seeing the lineup. Is this after seeing the lineup?
Yes. I was sticking to 2-1 or 2-2, but after see the lineup because I was really hoping for Yoel Matip's inclusion, and of course the midfield three of Thiago, Fab, and Anderson. And I think on the paper, come on, we don't have any excuses. This is the best we could feel today, and I think I'm very happy that Jurgen Klopp has fulfilled our fans' wish today. Your Matip is in, deservedly so. Gomez is off, deservedly so. He was very poor against Aston Villa, and I'm very excited with the midfield three of us.
As long as Adrian don't try to pull no tiki taka today and just clears the ball that comes to him, I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
we'll be okay.
Yes, yes, yes,
Vinod, prediction, please.
Can I give two predictions?
yes, Dan.
Of course. You are a United fan, so go for it.
No. After looking at the lineup, I'm thinking Liverpool might sneak out 4-2.
Yeah.
For a what? Sorry,
I mean, after looking at the lineup,
4-2 Liverpool. Yeah.
4-2.
Okay.
4-2.
Your trio of Thiago is the magic there, the unknown. So he will be key. But if Thiago fails to perform, I'm going for a 2-2.
you know what? You're lucky we don't have time. If not, we would have taken a whack at your match. So yeah, our man of the moment. I was hoping to get Ben for a while now. But Ben's given us assurance that he's going to try to join future shows, especially that Mane versus Salah one. Ben, take it away. What do you think? What's your prediction?
Yeah, I've said earlier, I think it'll be 3-1. I think it'll be quite a tight affair for the first 60 minutes, and then I think it will start to open out because I think both sides will want to win the game, and I think we'll get a second, and then they'll chase it and we'll nick it. So I think it's mostly down to the fact there's lack of fans. I think that's the way the football's gone this year. So otherwise, I think it would be a bit more cagey. But yeah, 3-1 Liverpool.
Do you want to go to the extent of naming the scorers then?
No, probably. I think the man informed Calvert-Lewin will score for them, and I think it could be a number of scores for us. The person I want to score the most is Bobby because he's been in absolute terrible form in front of goal, and his football has been really poor recently. So I really hope he scores. But I think someone's put down. They think Jota will end up scoring the final goal. I think Jota will come off the bench and score, and it could be anything from. I think I wouldn't be surprised if Trent. We somehow get a dead ball situation and Trent can score a free kick or something like that. So, but 3-1. I need it. I need it.
We all need it.
We all needed it.
Except for Vinod. Of course, Vinod having the only happy moment, which has been these 2 weeks where he didn't. The Liverpool fans couldn't stick it to them because. We were all probably I don't know what they say over there, Ben. But in Malaysia, we say this thing where if we get trashed, we end up living in caves. So that's the joke over here. Like have fun in the cave for a week or something. But this time, both fan bases admitted that we're all in the cave. So so that's why it was absolutely quiet social media, nothing, right? And so we're happy that the Premier League football is back and that good for nothing international break. I don't know why that international break was there. It was really absolutely not required at all. But I'm glad it's over and Premier League is back. Ben James, thank you so much for joining us here today. We look forward to having you back on the show. If you have any other buddies on your side, we love to have them on the show as well. It's a good mix of Asian and UK views on Liverpool. So it's really brilliant. Iqbal Ali, thank you so much for joining us, mate.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you so much, Vinod. The rare United fan breed, a dying breed. Let's say a dying breed. Thank you, Vinod. Always being objective and being fair and giving credit when it's due. Thank you so much, Vinod. And my man Puva, thank you for resolving your connection issues.
Thank you. My pleasure. And good to see a UK fan in our show. Actually, looking forward to see Ben more in our shows, especially.
Yeah.
For that Salah versus Mane, I have a buddy to back me up.
I'll be all like
the Mane camp seems to be gaining strength, so I've got to figure out the Salah camp now.
I'm in the Salah camp.
We've got a Salah camper right here. All right. Okay, guys. Time's up. We've gone about, I think, 5 minutes over our time. Thank you so much. This is the KOP Talk. Please like, subscribe, and follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. We're all there. So thank you so much. This show is recorded. You can watch it anytime you want. Everton versus Liverpool happening, I think, in less than an hour.
Yes.
We look forward to a fantastic Merseyside derby, one that I think we haven't seen in a long time. To both fan bases, this is the KOP Talk. Thank you very much. We're signing off.